fellow figure skating fans and friends. Today is a really cool day because I'm having my friend Mai on a video for the very first time. Hey, Mai.
Hey, hello, I'm Mai.
Yeah, Mai is really cool. We just met this year at Skate Canada International. Never even talked online beforehand or anything, but we have quite a few mutual friends, Tiffany Langston, Andrea, and Kanishka. So it was really fun to meet up finally, and I feel like we're good
Yeah,
friends now.
although we've been at like all the same competitions, like literally, but just never crossed paths.
Yeah, so we're making up for it by doing a whole video together. So today is the last of my preview videos for the 2019 U.S. National Figure Skating Championships, and it is the men's disciplines. And Mai loves men so much that she's the expert in today's video, and she's prepared. I am not, so she's gonna help us get through this video. Now, we were talking beforehand, and we really think the most exciting part about the men's discipline at 2019 Nationals is the battle for the pewter or the bronze. And I actually agree with that, but why not discuss everyone from the gold medal contender to the rest of the podium?
Yeah. So, obviously, the U.S. men are kind of in a bit of a rebuilding phase. We saw some retirements this year. So, obviously, Adam Rickon announced his retirement. Max Aaron retired, and then Ross Minor hasn't announced officially, but he's not going to be at nationals. So, and it's probably likely that we won't see Ross, but you never know. He hasn't announced one way or the other. But in any case, those three men were a key part of the U.S. men's field for so many years, and so there's definitely some openings in the men's field. There's definitely some up and comers. And that sort of thing. But otherwise, it's a pretty predictable field as far as, obviously, we saw with Ross Minor last year, there's always room for surprises. So I never say, like, this is locked in stone, that this is definite, because U.S. Nationals is, like, a chaotic place. If you've ever been to U.S. Nationals in person, kind of, it's very, I don't know what it's about it, but I think there's like a certain atmosphere with U.S. Nationals, and I think it brings out people, it brings out the best in people, and sometimes it brings out the worst in people. So you never know when there'll be surprises. But if you look at the data, I'm a nerd. I've kept all the scores. I've looked at all the men's programs this season. There's kind of a definite top three, and then there's kind of everybody else at this point. But again, I'll leave room for surprises.
Yeah, that's right. There's something about the National Figure Skating Championships, and this is one aspect that I don't love about it, is that there's so much pressure that the people you can expect to do well crumble, and like the people who are just excited to be there like have no pressure and they skate clean and they vault to a high finish. So you just never know what can happen, but it's an exciting event nonetheless. And can we talk about Nathan Chen, because I think he's going to win the gold medal?
Yeah, he looks very good to win the gold. I think if you were going to do predictions, you're pretty safe putting Nathan. Again, room for surprises, but the numbers don't lie. Nathan looks really great to win gold, and so yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what his strategy is going to be for nationals, because we saw at Skate America that his technical content, mainly the number of quads, the type of quads that he was doing was watered down. It seems like he's trying to add in back the more difficult quads. The
Yeah.
quadlets is a great point gainer. Hasn't been consistent. He's sticking with the quad toe. That's a safe one for him. And the key is the number of quads. I mean, this is the kid that's, did 5 quads in one free skate one time. But it seems like the average number this season is 3, which is enough to win. And if you're a more casual fan watching, the interesting thing to note is that Nathan Chen can win the competition and fall a few times. Probably because he gets the points on the rotation of the quads.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the thing about Nathan is that he is unpredictable when it comes to his layout. I actually don't think Nathan knows what his layout will be until like the day of the competition, to be honest. I did a kind of quick look at his layouts from his Grand Prix and Grand Prix final, and he hasn't had the same layout for any of his competitions.
No.
So he definitely plays it by ear. The quad toe definitely pretty consistent, so keeps that in. The quad lut, he's kind of tried to put his toe in, but he fell on it at the Grand Prix final, so I'm not sure what he'll do with it at nationals. The quad flip is a kind of an interesting little jump. He actually got an edge call on it at the Grand Prix in France. So he did do well with it at Grand Prix final in the short program. He actually scored a lot of great execution points for it. So yeah, when it comes to what quads Nathan will do, like you might as well just like throw a bunch of spaghetti and see what sticks. He's not going to tell you, and he probably doesn't know himself. I mean, I think that's one of the things his coach must go busy, because like I don't think he even knows what Nathan will do really. So
it's an emotional ride for everyone watching. And if there is an aspect of skating where Nathan Chen does not dominate, I would actually say it's the second mark. Program component marks will shorten it by, say, PCS, because his are actually pretty inferior to Jason Brown's from the international judges. I'd say all season long, even in the Grand Prix final where he won, his program component marks in the free skate was lower than Jason Brown's at the Grand Prix of France.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is that when Nathan isn't face-to-face with Jason Brown, so they competed against each other in France. So when they're head-to-head, they always get to Jason. But when Nathan isn't competing against Jason, or he's competing against the rest of the field, his program component scores are actually pretty good. They're not the highest, but like of all the world men, but he still gets in the high 80s pretty easily. And he actually at Skate America he got 90.
Oh,
and
wow.
Jason hasn't gotten 90.
So I take that back. So, but then again, there's like home crowd judging. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Skate America. So it's really hard to say if that 90 score. I mean, he hasn't gotten 90 since Skate America. So obviously there's probably some home judging. He was also clean at Skate America free skate.
Yes.
So there's a new rule. So there's been a lot of changes to the judging system this year, and one of the new rules is that if you fall, your PCS mark automatically goes below 9. You can't score higher than 9 if you fall in your free skate. So like there's been a lot of falls. So there's a lot of skaters who usually would get 90 plus aren't getting 90 because they fell in the free skate. So.
All right. Let's see. Anything else I want to say about Nathan Chen? You know what? I almost made a video dedicated to him this season because my favorite word is undefeated. And that's a word you don't get to say a lot in figure skating. Yeah. So he's undefeated so far this season, not without some challenges. And, you know, we'll see if he'll remain undefeated after nationals. But I got to say, I like his programs, but I'm not sure I see growth in terms of artistry from last season to this season. It's just kind of the same, which is, you know, okay sometimes, but I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm not sure how the growth is. And I know he's being coached by Raf via webcast from across the country. I hope that works out well in the long run. He is a full-time student at Yale, so kudos to him.
Yeah. Actually, regarding his programs, I actually really like his short program.
Oh, Caravan. Me too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually think that's a great vehicle for him. I've seen Nathan live a couple of times, and my main thing with Nathan is I feel he doesn't really project to the audience. He's kind of a more introverted skater. So I love Caravan and I got to see it live at the Grand Prix final, and he loves it. Like he gets into it. He's outgoing. He's performing his heart out. It's really, really fun program, and I really love that he had the opportunity. You know, God bless. I think Shaylin Bourne choreographed that program, and she really knows how to do. Yeah, she really, Nathan, obviously she did the Nemesis program last season, so she really does a good job with Nathan, and I think Caravan is definitely a winner for me.
Awesome, me too. It's the long program that I'm a little more reserved about.
Yeah, so the long program was choreographed by Mary-France Dubril and Sam Chouinard. So I think most of them know them as ice. They're part of Gabar, the ice dance team in Montreal. So they're known for their ice dance programs. And I think one of the challenges is you know, the program is definitely very reminiscent. If you're very familiar with like Papadakis and Cicerone or Virtue Moore's programs, who were choreographed by the same folks. The problem with these programs is it's a very open-ended. Like you have to kind of bring yourself into the program. Like you have to do your own interpretation. Like, and that's what makes the programs really great because you get to see the personality. If you watch, for example, Virtue Moore's Lash program from a couple of seasons ago, you know, it's a beautiful program. Virgin Moore has the ability to interpret pretty much any type of music. Same with Papadakis and Cicerone. Nathan doesn't have that really. I think he tries. I think there's some highlights, like the step sequence in the free skate is super fun, like very powerful, and like he's like, he's done all his jumps, so he's just like really into it. But otherwise, like I feel like he hasn't quite got the style for that program yet. Like, Sam Smith's music is very hard to interpret, I think, or not Woodkid, sorry, not Sam Smith, Woodkid, sorry. Land of All, it's a very hard song to interpret. There's not a lot to work with. Music doesn't really carry you. So I think, there's some opportunities for growth, but we haven't really seen the best of that program yet, I think.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe we'll see more growth at nationals.
Yeah.
All right, so we think that the silver medal will go to Jason Brown, who kind of had a rocky start at Skate Canada, but he brought it together at the Grand Prix of France, winning a medal. And I actually think he's looking really good, seeing some of his training videos at the Toronto Cricket Club. What do you think?
So, yeah, he definitely had a really struggled in the start of the season. Obviously, the big thing, Jason, he's done a lot of changes in the off season. He changed coaches. He was with Corey Ade for 20 years, decided obviously he didn't make the Olympic team, so that really prompted him to kind of evaluate where he wanted to go. So he changed coaches from Corey Ade to Brian Orser and Tracy Wilson at the Cricket Club in Toronto. He cut his hair. I think that's the bigger news, honestly, right? I think he was really trying to go for a new mature look, honestly. That seems to be his MO this season. So he's really trying to show, that he can stand out, that he still has a lot to offer in skating. But yeah, he definitely struggled in the early part of the season, and I think that is a product of adopting new technique. He is changing his technique. Basically, he had a delay in his rotation. Like, he had these really nice jumps, but he always delayed in the rotations. That's why you always kind of saw him under rotating triple axel a lot, because he never finished the rotation fast enough before he had to land. So with Brian Orster's technique, the rotation is he starts rotating a lot faster. But again, that's a completely new technique. When you're shifting your technique like that, it's very hard to not go back to old habits. And he even talked about that at Skate Canada, that he had to think through all the elements, and that was very difficult. So you can hear Brian talking to Kiss and Cry if you watch some of the videos, where it's from the heart, you need to stop overthinking. And that's what he was doing at Skate Canada. He was overthinking everything and trying to get in the new technique. And as we saw, and luckily in France, and later his second challenger event at Golden Spin, he seems to be adopting the technique a little bit better.
Yeah, watching Jason Brown really focus on the jumps is not a bad thing to watch, because I think the rest of his skating is absolutely amazing. The flexibility, the spins, the edge quality. I like how he follows the choreography perfectly, it seems like, and the choreography is not easy in his programs. My personal favorite is his short. I can have that song on repeat. Yes. And then with Jason, there's the question of also strategy is, will he attempt the quad? Does he need it? Is Nationals an opportunity to put it out with very minimal risks? Who knows?
Yeah. So I think the quad is obviously the big question mark. Brian said in an interview recently that he has had some success landing the quad Salchow in practice. Obviously, we haven't seen it in competition yet, but we'll see. It sounded like he was going to try to attempt it at Golden Spin, which was the Challenger event, which actually was the same weekend as the Grand Prix final.
Yeah.
So that was fun to watch the Grand Prix final. I was at the Grand Prix final, and I was watching the stream at Golden Spin. So, I know, right?
Wow, Mai.
So, and he was, I think, going to attempt it, but he actually had an ankle injury, the day before the short program, not major, but minor. And that's to say, okay, let's, cut back on the jump content and not take it a little bit easy. And if you watch the Golden Spin programs, you notice in the short program, he actually doesn't do his Russian split, which he usually does before he does the triple up, triple toe.
Oh,
and
no.
So that was so he definitely was taking it a little easy, but it sounds like it wasn't a serious injury. And, obviously we still have a lot of time until nationals. So that shouldn't be an issue. And so we'll see. But I think in general, his jumps have gotten a lot better. The triple axel in particular has improved a lot from past seasons.
Yeah, so it's great to see that jump more consistent, especially if there's not a quad. And hey, if he can skate 2 clean programs, I think the judges will reward him in the second mark.
Yeah. So I think looking at the scores, it's a little interesting thing that some people might be surprised. As of right now, obviously things will change this season. He actually has the highest technical score in the short program. Oh, and even over Nathan Chen. So, because he has been skating that program clean. And we saw at France, the judges are willing to reward him. Actually, the new system really favors him in 2 ways. Number one, he can get those +4s and +5s that a lot of skaters, especially in the spins and the step sequence. And the other thing with the spin and the step sequence is that they're being a lot more strict with the levels. Like you're seeing a skaters getting level 2s and level 3s. Jason, in general, gets a level 4, like pretty consistently. So that helps him as well. And he also gets better grade of execution in the steps. He has the highest spins and step sequences in the world right now, for sure.
I'm not surprised at all. I think the judges, or at least the tech caller, are being strict with step sequence levels across all disciplines, from what I noticed. I know there are questionable level calls in ice dance even, and I could tell that Jason's step sequence is a level 4 just by looking at it. I mean, he just does them so well. You can tell that he's very skilled.
Yeah, he has had a couple level 3s, but he scores really well in the grade execution, so he still gets a lot of points for the step sequence.
Absolutely. We didn't talk about this, but do you have Vincent Zhou for the bronze medal?
I do have Vincent.
Me too.
For now, yeah. Yeah, and Vincent's kind of an interesting case. He hasn't had the best season. He's had a lot of under rotations this season. Like every state he's done, he has at least one, if not multiple, under rotations.
And sometimes they're questionable calls too. I know in Skate America that was the big debate amongst many people attending. Like, he landed all these quads, they look good to the naked eye. Sometimes they even look okay in the replay, if I must say so myself. But yeah, the judges or the tech caller was really harsh on him at Skate America. I kind of don't have an opinion one way or the other. Maybe they look close, but that is something that he and I think Tammy and Tom Zakrajcek, his coaches, are trying to work to remedy. I don't know if there's enough time to fix that, or maybe the tech caller at Nationals won't be as strict.
Right. Well, I think one thing to keep in mind why we might be seeing a lot more under rotation calls for Vincent is that I think with Vincent, he's always had some borderline calls. So the thing is in the past, if you were borderline, so if you were at I guess a quarter turn, like right at a quarter turn, the judge was supposed to say, okay, we'll give you the technical panel is supposed to give you the benefit of the doubt. That is over. They can now say it's like you have to be a quarter or more, and if you're right at a quarter, that's under rotated. So basically that hurts Vincent because he's always had a lot of like borderline rotations, and so those jumps that would have not been called like last season. So for example, at the Olympics, you saw he didn't get many under rotation calls. Now those same jumps will be called under rotated.
Yeah, so I think that's what's going to hold him back from, challenging Nathan for the gold medal, or even Jason Brown for the silver, because he is attempting a lot of quads in his free skates. And, he's skating some pretty clean programs if you take away the under rotation calls. But what he doesn't have that Jason Brown has, as we discussed earlier, is high GOE marks across multiple elements.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think he's working. He's definitely I think one thing about Vincent, he's definitely trying to improve on those elements, like his spins and his step sequences, and just his overall, performance. Like, if you look at his programs, they're a lot more polished than we've seen him in the past.
I think programs this season.
Yes, he has very good programs. I have to say it was a bit of a choice to do Muse Exogenous Symphony because considering Jeremy Abbott, it's an iconic program for Jeremy Abbott. But he does make it work. So if you can set aside that Jeremy has a very amazing program to that same song, it's actually a good program for Vincent. I think Jeff Buttle does a good job with choreographing Vincent. So for sure.
So don't attack me, but I have yet to see Jeremy Abbott's Exogenesis program. So I
You
get to,
should.
I know I should,
Yes, you
right?
should.
But I get to view Vincent's program without, knowing how well Jeremy did it. And I actually enjoy that. Ashley Wagner skated to that program, but it wasn't a legendary program for her. So I think it takes Vincent to a new level, moving him in the right direction in terms of his artistry. Let's see here. I even like that free program of his that
Yeah,
not everyone seems to
both
like.
programs. I think both programs are solid. I think they definitely. As I said, I think they make him look more polished. I think he's finishing his movements a lot more. I think that's a big plus for him. He can still work on his basic skating skills, but obviously that's going to take time. I mean, you're not going to get improved skating skills and be faster overnight.
hmm and I just thought about this. Watching the final group skate their free program at Nationals and having Nathan, Jason, and Vincent in that group is already just really exciting for me to think about.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be really exciting. I think it's gonna be, and even beyond the top three, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about them in a minute. There's some really promising skaters, up and coming skaters for sure.
All right. Do you want to start mentioning some of those skaters?
Yeah. So definitely the battle. So there's two little battles going on that I think will be very interesting. So there's a battle for pewter, fourth place, and then there's also the battle for junior world spots. We have 3 junior world spots, but we easily have 4 different men contending for those junior world spots.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it should be very interesting, those two things. So I guess I wanted to start with some new senior. The new senior on the Grand Prix circuit is Aleksei Krasnozhon. He trains in Texas. He debuted on the Grand Prix this season. He had a very dominant junior season last year. He won the junior Grand Prix. And then he was on track to win Junior Worlds, but then he sustained an ankle injury during the free skate, and he had to withdraw. And he kind of struggled since then. So he's been kind of on a recovery mode since then. So his first event, I think he was at Nebelhorn Trophy, and he really struggled. He was not the junior dominant skater we saw last season, and but he's actually improved quite a bit over. Like he did his challenger event, and then he did his first Grand Prix event in Helsinki, and he did pretty well. And then he did his second event in Russia, Grand Prix event in Russia, and he also improved there. Although score-wise he didn't improve, but he's showing progress like over the season. And so I still will peg him. I just saw a video of him. He posted on an Instagram story of a very beautiful triple axel. So he is capable of scoring big when he skates clean.
Yeah, he has the quads.
The quad is inconsistent, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He I think he can do the quad. I think he has the jumping firepower, but he's never been very consistent. He's attempted the quad loop in the past. Actually, he tried. I think he had injured himself at Junior World by trying to do the quad salto.
Oof.
So that was one. Yeah. So we'll see where he is with the quad. He hasn't attempted. I don't think he's attempted any quads this season. Actually, I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but I want to say the injury has something to do with it, but I enjoyed watching him as a senior last year or as a junior last year. Maybe it's because he had cleaner programs, he was winning his competitions. Right. I'm just not feeling his presence on the ice this season as much. Like a little bit of posture here and there, some finesse between the elements.
Yeah, I don't think his short program does him any favors. His short program is to a cover of the song, and actually this is my little personal pet peeve. So I love the Robin song called "It's Dancing on My Own."
Oh, I love that
and,
song.
Yeah, by Robin.
Mm-hmm.
But he skates this like super slow, like this guy is just got like male cover of this song, and I just don't like when skaters do covers, honestly, because there's some really bad covers out there. And God bless Alex. I know he's trying, but it's a slow, like kind of a emo-ish version of this song. Like if you listen to the Robin song, it's like a bopping, like okay, sorry.
No, that's my summer song.
I love that song, and like I like rant about it all the time. Like my other skating friends will hear me constantly rant about how he's not skating to the Robin original, because I just love that woman. I mean, we need Robin in figure skating.
We do.
Yeah. So, but in any case, going back, that program is so slow. I don't think it highlights his power. He's a powerful skater. I think his programs last season showed his power, and I know he doesn't have the power now because of the injury, but still, like, it's not the best vehicle for his strength, in my opinion.
I agree. Do you have Alex Johnson as a contender for the pewter?
I do. We can skip right to him. And Alex has had quite the season. He debuted on the Grand Prix for the first time at age 28. So age, you're never too old to get on the Grand Prix. So, yeah. Alex has some really, I love watching him in person. He's
so beautiful.
He just has this presence, and I don't know what it is. He has a lot of charisma and just really fun to watch. He's been juggling school and skating. He's actually,
wow.
So he's close to finishing. If he hasn't finished, I don't remember. He's been working on his business degree at the University of Minnesota. Actually, when he found out he got on the Grand Prix, he was actually working at a internship for some financial company in Minneapolis. And so he's been balancing school and skating. He was actually training in Colorado Springs with Tom Dixon, but then he moved back to Minnesota. He's actually training with Roheen Ward's old coach.
Okay.
I forget her name now at the moment, but yeah. So he's been training in the Twin Cities. He got to debut on the Grand Prix. He had a challenger event. His technical elements aren't really there. He's been inconsistent on the triple axel, so that will hold him back as far as the scores to get to that fourth place. But he does tend to peak at nationals. He's had some skates of his life. I think the Eleanor Free Skate 2015 Nationals is still a very memorable program for me. So he can bring it at nationals. And again, nationals is this like weird magical place that skaters do well or crumble. So I would not be surprised if we see Alex Johnson like just fully playing it at nationals.
Yeah, he gets a lot of attention at nationals. So
yes, there is. I mean, going to nationals it can be very stressful. So yeah, it's definitely for sure. He has some really interesting programs this season. He has a Rihanna cover, so he has a Please Don't Stop the Music, but it's a cover.
Okay.
Well, covers. It's kind of it's by the artist Jamie Poland, so it's just very like slow. It has a dub drop somewhere, but like it's kind of a slow. But I think Alex makes it work. Alex is such a great performer that he does make the cover work. So even though I don't love the cover, like he does do a really good job. And Alex is also skating the Wood Kid as well. So we're gonna have two Wood Kid programs, at least two Wood Kid programs at nationals. So he's skating to a medley, and it's actually by Shaylin Bourne. So so the Golden Age, Iron, and Run Boy Run.
Okay.
So it's a medley. That program's really great. I think that's if he skates it clean, it's going to be very powerful. It's even when he doesn't have the jumps, it's still really fun to watch.
Great. I haven't seen him skate this season. I'm debating whether I want to watch him for the first time at nationals, just because I think he'll do so well and that'll be so magical, or if I want to kind of give myself a preview. We'll see what I decide to do.
Yeah, it might be worth waiting. I mean, I don't think we saw the best of Alex in either his challenger event or his Grand Prix event.
I saw his scores, so I didn't rush to go see how he skated.
Yeah, but whatever you decide, I think it's a win-win. You get to see Alex Johnson, so it's not a bad thing.
Great. Who's next on your list for the Battle of the Pewter?
So let's run through some more seniors, and we'll talk about the juniors.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy Ma, let's talk about him.
Oh yeah, the Skate America host pick.
Yeah, so Jimmy has had a great start to the season. He won bronze at the U.S. Classic, and he beat his show, and that was a big deal. And so he's kind of strong. He's been up and down. Skate America wasn't a great competition for him.
I think he put a lot of stress on himself at Skate America. I was there in the arena. Sure. I got to see him quite a bit, up and around. And there was mumblings across people that he was just like super before he skated, he was super pumped to just prove to everyone that he deserved the spot. And I just kept thinking, hey, you got the spot. Like, go out there and just skate because we know you can. But it seemed like he psyched himself out, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think he was very nervous, and that's natural.
Oh, yeah. No one blames him.
Yeah, no one blames him for that. So Jimmy actually did bounce back a little bit at Asian sectionals. He finished second behind Vincent Zhou, and he actually landed a quad toe in the spree program. So that was really nice to see. I don't think it's a consistent jump for him yet, but it was good to see him land it. And also his triple axel is really nice. When he generally lands that, and it's a really nice jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jimmy is one of my favorite American skaters to watch. Of course, he had a program that went viral. What's that song called? I'm Not Hip Enough. Turn Down for What?
Down for what?
Yes.
Turn down.
Yes.
Snake,
I think it takes something very special about a skater to have one of their performances go viral, be it Jason Brown with the River Dance in 2014, and Jimmy Ma. He's got that special charisma, and I'm excited to see that at Nationals.
I was channeling that a little bit with his short program this season. Definitely, you don't expect to see that in figure skating. And he definitely works it. He definitely got the Latin vibe there, and so that's a great for him. His free skate, he actually had a program. I haven't seen it, unfortunately. I need to see if I can dig it up. But he had a free skate quarterback by Joshua Ferris this season.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but then he changed it back to his program from last season to Rachmaninoff. And I think that free skate is a little bit harder because he doesn't have that music, like that fun music to carry him. I think I appreciate Jimmy for trying to show that he has some range, but I think you can definitely see like that program, like he tries, but it's definitely like a little harder for him to really make that program work because he doesn't have that high energy. Because you can see Jimmy Ma is just like this super high energy guy. Like I met him at the Friends of Figure Skating breakfast last year, and he's just a very like enthusiastic guy. And so I think something with Rachmaninoff where you have to interpret a little bit. It's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Tim Dolensky. Jimmy Ma. So he is. I have him on my list as well, and he always has fun programs. I think the thing that stands out for is that he always has these very like upbeat, fun programs. He has a short program to Spark by Amber Run, and then he has he kept his free skate from last season. He modified it obviously for the short and free. For those who don't know, the free skate is now 4 minutes instead of 4.5 minutes. So he modified his free skate from last season to Spark by Novo Amor and Ed Pullis. And it was choreographed by Ryan Jenke, who was a former men's figure skater. And I think Ryan has choreographed several of Tim's programs and does a really good job with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tim Dolensky is also someone else who tends to do really well at nationals, and he's had some Grand Prix experience. So We'll see how he does. I haven't seen him this season, but I'm excited.
Yeah, he's had a couple of challenger events. He didn't have any Grand Prix. He had I think 2 challenger events. His technical content has been kind of up and down this season. He's been trying to incorporate a quad salchow into his repertoire. Hasn't really been able to do that. Even his triple axel has been kind of MIA at times. But at Eastern Sectionals, he did land triple axel in both his short program and his free skate. So, and he has great spins. He has probably, like, behind Jason, he probably has some of the best spins in the U.S.
Gosh, Mai, I'm so excited you're on. You know how these guys did at sectionals, at regionals. Man, that is awesome.
I'm like hardcore. Yeah, I watched. I've been tracking the U.S. men all season, so it's been really fun. I think that for me, the U.S. men, they have so many different styles, and they have so many different strengths and weaknesses. It's really fun. It would be very difficult for you not to find a U.S. man skate to like. I think it's very easy to find one that works for you. Like, if you don't like Jason, you can be a fan of Vincent, or you like Vincent better. And so I think that's kind of the key of the U.S. men is that there's some diversity there.
Okay, so it sounds like Tim didn't get any Grand Prix assignments this season. I just remember seeing him at his Skate Canada maybe a few seasons ago. So
yeah. So yeah, let's talk about some juniors. You ready for some juniors?
Yeah, I don't think I know any juniors, so take it away.
Yeah, let's talk about awesome. I'm excited about the juniors. As I said, so I should have mentioned with Aleksei earlier that he does want to go back to Junior World. So if he is in contention for one of. So I mentioned there was 4 men, and so yeah, Alex is one of them. And I think he wants to go back because obviously he wasn't able to win the title because of his injury. So I think he wants to go back and win that Junior World title.
That could be good for him.
So we have him. And then we have 3 other junior men. We actually have 3 men qualify for the Junior Grand Prix final this season.
Woohoo! So
that is exciting. So I think the leading contender among those 3 men is Camden Pulkinen.
Oh, Camden's he's a nice skater.
Yes. Camden is when he's on, he's amazing. I got to watch him at the Junior Grand Prix final, because they did the junior and the senior both at the same event. And his short program is so to oblivion. It's actually choreographed by Stefan Lambiel, and he did such a great job.
He's amazing.
He did such a great job with this program. Like his step sequence is like he's like floating, just floating like on like ice. It's so gorgeous. And obviously his short program was probably one of the highlights for me of the junior event. Sadly, the free skate was the exact opposite.
Oh, no.
He finished 6 out of 6 in the free skate. He scored 30 points off his season best. He really, really struggled. He skated last. I think the pressure of winning a Junior Grand Prix final title really got to him, and he really struggled. And I think the free skate in general has been a real struggle for him. It's the West Side Story. It's also by Tom. And I think it's a bit of a departure for Camden because it's kind of this like upbeat, you know West Side Story. It's a very upbeat program. He has to like perform. I think he has the ability and the charisma to perform it, but we're used to seeing kind of more of these flowy like or drama type programs. We're not used to seeing these like very like musical, performance Broadway type programs. And even Camden said that he was kind of skeptical of doing West Side Story at first, and then he came to like it. So it really showed, I think, this season that he's still like not quite gelling with the free skate, and it really showed at Grand Prix because then he had nerves and he didn't really have, you can tell the short program is kind of his. In fact, like the short program, he's the only other U.S. men besides Jason and Nathan to score more than 80 points.
Wow.
So Camden is actually a dark horse, not shooter, but he could also finish potentially top 3.
Okay, Camden, I think I remember like looking up the scores for the Junior Grand Prix final, and it was interesting to see like was he first after the short and then last in the free skate?
Yeah, so he was first in the short, last in the free skate, and then he finished 5th overall.
What a bummer. But hey, he could bounce back at nationals, and he's going to compete as a senior, correct?
He will compete as a senior. So the 3 juniors are all going to compete as seniors. And
oh wow!
Yeah. So he has the potential to do great. I think he's a dark horse for bronze. I think he could be easily Peter at his best for sure.
Cool. Who is he up against?
So the other 2. So next up is Tomoki Hiwatashi.
Oh
yeah, so he made the Junior Grand Prix final as well, and I love him. He has he has some really cool transitions in his program. So the one I wanted to highlight was in his free skate. So he actually does a cantilever, then a Russian split, and then the triple salchow. It's like bam, bam, bam.
That's like channeling Shoma Uno and then Jason Brown and then doing a jump.
Yeah, he's definitely channeling some skaters there. And so he's had some great seasons. So he scored 76 points at his first Junior Grand Prix event in Richmond, Canada, and he's had some really great moments. Unfortunately, Junior Grand Prix final, he did not do very well. He finished last in the short program, and then he ended up finishing last. I don't want to say last 6. He finished 6 out of 6 overall. And so. And he does seem prone to under rotations. So at the Junior Grand Prix final free skate, he ended with 74 technical element score, and by the time he got through all the reviews, it went down from 74 to 61.
Oh.
Yeah, and so he does have a tendency to under rotate, and I don't think it's like Vincent where he chronically under rotates. I think sometimes maybe if he's nervous or something, he just tends not to rotate fast or something because he's perfectly capable. He has not had under rotations on like the triple axel in the past, and he's capable of doing a fully rotated quad toe as well. Like we saw that at nationals last year, he did a beautiful quad toe, triple toe in the free skate, and so he did really great. So he has the potential to do really well at nationals. He tends not to skate Ukraine programs, so which is why I'm not like exactly putting him at the top to like be on the podium because he's not the most consistent.
And he's also still pretty young, isn't he?
He's pretty young. I believe he's 18,
Okay.
or 18 or 19. Yeah, but he's been on the Junior Grand Prix forever. He actually was the Junior World Bronze medalist back in, I believe, 2016. So he's had success on the junior level, and he has some great programs. I think both his programs are really good this season. He has really great musicality, but he also tends to he's kind of I would like him to project a little more.
Okay. I like his personality in interviews. I think I've seen more interviews
Yeah.
of him than his actual skating.
Yeah, he's really fun. I got to chat with him a little bit at the Junior Grand Prix final,
Awesome.
and he was great. Yeah, he's super friendly. I think he's a very funny guy. Him and Camden are really good friends.
That's
and
right.
So it's really cute. Yeah, so it's really good to see those two interact, and I think it was nice for them to be there together because they both kind of struggled at the Junior Grand Prix final. So it's, I think, nice for them to be there for each other. So yes, we have one more on my list. It's Andrew Torgashev.
Okay. I don't think I've even
yes.
heard that name before, so.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fans of Andrew, so you might get some hate mail because Andrew is a very popular skater.
Bring it.
So Andrew Torgashev, there's been quite a few coaching changes this season. I actually haven't talked about a few of them, but Andrew also changed coaches. He was coached by his parents in Florida.
Okay.
And then he just moved to Colorado Springs to be part of that World Arena coaching staff. So I think his official coach is Christy Crawl, but I think he also works with like Tom's like High Tech and like the other people on the World Arena team. But generally, I think his main coach is, I believe, Christy Crawl. And so he just moved. I think he still works with his parents, like on a consulting basis, but he's based in Colorado Springs now. I think one of the things about Andrew is that he has great skating skills. He's a performer. He probably has one of the few Mulan rebounds that I can tolerate because we all know that it can be overkill. And so Andrew actually has a very beautiful Tango de Roxanne free skate. His step sequence in particular in that free skate is very, very good. I would recommend watching that since you're not familiar with him.
Okay.
I'd recommend watching the free skate. Yeah. And so he actually made the Grand Prix final. He finished fourth at his first Grand Prix or Junior Grand Prix event, but then he won his second Junior Grand Prix event, and that was actually enough for him to qualify. But unfortunately, he had to withdraw through the injury, so we did not get. Yeah, so we did not get to see him at the Junior Grand Prix final. Actually, that's why we saw Stefan Gogolev come and then win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And of Canada, and then come and win the whole thing.
I was going to say, when you mentioned Andrew, I was like, I don't remember seeing the name at the Junior Grand Prix final roster, so that explains.
Yeah. So he has a short program. I do want to note this because I didn't realize this until I was doing my research for our chat today. The short program is to open Ours by Journey, and it's actually a dedication to the victims of the Parkland, Florida school shooting. Yeah, he actually his house is actually across the street from the school, and he had a lot of friends from that school. So he said that program was dedicated to them, and so I thought that was very interesting. I didn't actually know that until I actually kind of read about his programs a little bit more. Again, he kept his free skate to Tango de Roxanne. He's capable. He's done quads. He's done a quad sacco a couple times. It's not the most consistent jump. He's less inconsistent. He's even less inconsistent on the triple axel. He really struggles with the triple axel, and that's why he was in fourth at his first Junior Grand Prix because he really did not have the jumps, and then he kind of bounced back and won his second event. So I think given that he's had injury, like if I was going to say the junior world team, it might likely be Aleksei, Camden, and Tomoki. But again, I can see Andrew kind of sneaking in there for one of those junior world spots.
Gosh, that is amazing. I have like 3 new names to focus on at nationals. This is why I love doing these videos. So I, in my head, want to give out some shout outs really quickly to, I think, crowd favorites at nationals. The first one would be Sean Rabbit. I know a lot of people personally love him, and he's a great entertainer. Man, he knows how to move his body to certain parts of the music. It's really entertaining. He gets the crowd like, really screaming and having fun. So he's always a great one to watch. And then there's also Emmanuel Savory, just because I love seeing diversity, especially in U.S. men's figure skating. So it's great to see an African American represented. So I always look forward to seeing him each year.
Yeah, and Emmanuel, I think he also could be a spoiler. I think he has a good shot at top 10.
Top 10, yeah.
He does have he can do quads. He has done clean quads in competition. He doesn't. I don't think he has a consistent triple axel, but he has actually some really beautiful programs. I saw him live at U.S. Nationals last year. I don't remember what his programs are this year, so I need to look him up. But he can skate he's a very good performer. He has some charisma. So yeah, I actually look forward to seeing him as well.
Yay. Oh my gosh, Mai, thank you so much for doing this video with me.
It's a lot of fun, and thank you for inviting me over. I think it's been a lot of fun to talk about. I think it's gonna be really like crazy. I don't know how I'm gonna watch all this skating because Europeans is the same weekend. I'm not sure how this is gonna work.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of emotional state I'm gonna be in. The Canadian Nationals is the week beforehand, so.
Yeah. There's some names to watch for in Canadian National for sure. But that's another thing.
Yeah. So in case you all are curious, today's date is December 5th. January 5th. Gosh, not December 5th. January 5th. So there could be some withdrawals after we put this video up. I don't anticipate any, really. I know we just recently heard of Chen in ladies, and then Joshua Fun and his partner in pairs. Don't anticipate any of the men's withdrawing, though.
Andrew, because he had injury, but it sounds like he'll be back.
Okay.
But we'll see.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and then stay tuned later on this month for some recaps. Thank you again, Mai. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.